Victoria stood in the middle of her boutique, the soft pink neon lights illuminating the space, creating a warm and vibrant atmosphere. Sparkling outfits hung on the racks, reflecting her creativity and passion. But today, her heart felt heavier than ever. A cold breeze blew in from the window, carrying with it the sounds of the bustling New York City. But her heart felt buried in a storm. "Why today?" Victoria murmured, staring at her phone screen. The voice of Alexander, her ex-husband, echoed in her head like an haunting sound. They had been apart for a while, but the memories of sweet evenings, passionate conversations lingered on. Yet, now, everything had changed. Suddenly, the phone vibrated, startling her. It was a message from Alexander. She took a deep breath, a wave of excitement and anxiety flooding over her. "Victoria, I've withdrawn all the money from the joint account. I don't want to continue anymore. We need to get a divorce." The cold words struck her heart like a knife. She sat down in a chair, feeling as if everything around her had suddenly become blurry. "No way," she whispered, but the reality did not change. She had once thought their love was strong enough to withstand any challenges, but now, it was all just shattered pieces. Victoria looked out the window, where yellow taxis sped through the streets. Everyone was busy with their lives, unaware that she was going through an internal storm. "What am I going to do now?" she wondered, feeling a sense of helplessness wash over her. But just then, a thought flickered in her mind: "I can't let this defeat me." She stood up, determination clear in her eyes. Victoria was not someone who easily succumbed. She had built her career from the ground up during tough days, and now, she would not let Alexander take everything away from her. "I will fight," she told herself, a new fire igniting within her. She opened her laptop and began searching for information on divorce laws. Each click felt like a step toward freedom. But just as she was focused on her work, a knock on the door echoed. Victoria turned to see Olivia, her lawyer, entering with a serious expression. "Victoria, are you okay?" Olivia asked, her sharp gaze seeming to search for the truth in Victoria's bewildered eyes. "I just got a message from Alexander," Victoria replied, her voice trailing off. "He withdrew all the money and wants a divorce." Olivia frowned slightly. She knew this wasn't the first time Victoria faced challenges. "We need to act immediately. He can't escape this responsibility." Victoria nodded, feeling a powerful wave rising within her. She sensed strength from Olivia's support, a friend and an ally. "I won't let him hurt me anymore," she declared, her voice filled with determination, making Olivia smile. "Good. Starting now, we will plan every step of the way," Olivia said, her gaze resolute. "You're not alone in this fight." Victoria felt like a storm had passed, leaving a clear sky ahead. She knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but now, she had a clear goal: "I will reclaim what belongs to me." Outside, the city lights of New York still shone bright, and Victoria felt the vibrancy of this place. She was not just a lonely woman in a big city, she was a warrior, and her fight had just begun. She would not let anyone, not even Alexander, dim her light. Victoria sat in front of her desk, the light from the computer screen reflecting on her face, creating a serious and determined expression. She had spent the entire morning researching divorce regulations and financial rights, but the more she learned, the more she felt the pressure weighing down on her shoulders. "I need to do this," she told herself, but questions still swirled in her mind. Do I have the strength to face Alexander? Olivia had left after planning the next steps, but her presence still lingered in the space. Victoria felt like there was a fire burning in her heart, but there were also waves of anxiety crashing within her. "I can't let him win," she whispered, but doubt still crept into her mind. As she was reviewing documents, a call from her mother unexpectedly came in. Victoria hesitated for a moment, but then decided to answer. "Hello, Mom, I'm a bit busy." "Victoria, are you okay?" I heard about Alexander. Her mother's voice was gentle yet full of concern. Do you need any help from me? Victoria felt a wave of vulnerability rise up. I'm fine, Mom. I can handle it myself. You know I'm always here if you need, her mother said, but Victoria could sense the disappointment in her voice. She had always hoped for her to find happiness. And facing a divorce made her very sad. Alexander is not a good person, dear. I've felt that for a long time. Victoria didn't want to hear criticism about Alexander. She had once loved him. And although everything had changed now, she couldn't deny the beautiful memories. I know, but I have to deal with this myself. I won't let anyone decide my fate, she replied, her voice firm. The conversation ended, leaving Victoria with a feeling of emptiness. She looked out the window, where taxis were speeding by like an unending stream of life. I won't let anyone, not even Mom, make me falter, she thought. But reality is not as easy as she thought. The next day, when Victoria arrived at the lawyer's office, she encountered another unexpected situation. Olivia was discussing with a strange man, and when Victoria walked in, she felt the tension in the air. This is Jason, the financial expert we will be working with, Olivia introduced. Jason had a handsome yet cold appearance, his eyes sharp as knives. We need to examine Alexander's assets and debts. Victoria felt a bit worried. Why do I need to work with him, she asked. Her voice somewhat skeptical. Jason looked at Victoria with a scrutinizing gaze. Because, if you don't have complete information, you could lose more than you think. Alexander is not an easy guy. I know that, Victoria replied, but she felt challenged. I won't let him deceive me again. That's the right spirit, Olivia chimed in, but Jason seemed unimpressed. Remember, you can't let emotions dictate your decisions. This is a legal battle, not an emotional one. Victoria felt like she was caught between two worlds. She wanted to fight for her rights. But at the same time, she couldn't deny her feelings for Alexander. Beautiful memories still lingered, and she couldn't easily forget. When Victoria returned home, she decided to throw a small party with a few close friends. She thought this would help her escape the negative thoughts. But as the party went on, one of her close friends, Sarah, made everything tense. Victoria, are you really going to divorce Alexander? You still love him? Sarah asked, her eyes full of concern. Victoria felt like she had been punched in the stomach. Yes. But he has betrayed me. I can't live in a relationship like that. But are you sure? Maybe you should give him another chance, Sarah continued, her tone somewhat advisory. Victoria felt anger rising. A chance for whom? A person who has drained all my money and abandoned me? She stood up, unable to hold back her emotions. People don't understand. I am not just fighting for myself, but also for the values I believe in. The atmosphere became tense, and the other friends began to sneak glances at each other. Victoria felt like she was being isolated, but she couldn't back down. I can't let anyone decide for me anymore, she said, her voice full of determination. After the party, Victoria sat alone in her apartment, a feeling of emptiness surrounding her. She looked in the mirror, seeing the image of a strong woman seeking light in the darkness. I have to do this, she whispered to herself. I can't let anyone else decide my future. She opened her laptop and began to write down the things she wanted to achieve. I will reclaim my assets. I won't let Alexander take away what I have built. The words felt like a vow, a commitment to herself. Victoria sat in the meeting room of the law office, the atmosphere heavy. The light from the neon lights reflecting on her face, highlighting her determination and anxiety. Today is the most important day of her life, the divorce trial. She had been preparing for this moment for weeks, but now, as everything is unfolding, she can't help but feel nervous. Victoria, are you ready? Olivia asked, her gaze encouraging. She knew this was not easy for Victoria. I'm not sure, Victoria sighed, her hands gripping the documents on the table. I can't believe things have come to this. Olivia placed a hand on her shoulder, offering her a bit of comfort. You have done very well. Remember, this is your life, and you have the right to decide. Victoria nodded. But her mind still revolved around the memories of Alexander. The image of him, with his charming smile and affectionate gaze, lingered in her mind. I can't let him take everything away from me, she told herself, but doubt still quietly gnawed at her soul. When the trial began, Victoria felt as if all eyes were on her. Alexander had appeared. Still handsome, but with a cold and distant demeanor. He sat on the other side, his gaze lacking the warmth she once loved. I will not let him hurt me anymore, she thought. We will start by determining the joint assets, Victoria's lawyer stated, and the atmosphere became tense. Victoria felt her heart race as she looked at Alexander. The man she once considered her life partner, now turned into an opponent in this battle. I withdrew all the money from the joint account, Alexander said, his tone calm. I do not want to continue this marriage. That's not a way to solve the problem, Victoria protested, her voice ringing out with determination. You can't just take everything away without reason. I owe you nothing, Alexander replied, his gaze icy. You made your own choices. Victoria felt as if she had been struck. But you betrayed me. You hurt me. She couldn't hold back her emotions. Tears started to fall down her cheeks. As the trial continued, a shocking truth was revealed. Alexander's lawyer presented evidence of a secret bank account that Victoria was unaware of. This is the asset that Victoria has been hiding, Alexander's lawyer said, confidently. She withdrew money from the joint account without notifying her husband. Victoria felt as though her world was collapsing. No. That's not true, she cried out, but no one was listening. I never did that. Alexander just laughed coldly. You can't escape the truth. Alexander replied, his gaze devoid of any affection. You've changed, and so have I. Victoria stood up, feeling as if everything was spinning. I can't let this continue, she whispered. Moved closer to Victoria. You can do this. Remember that you're not alone. But Victoria felt like she was in the middle of a storm. She had to decide, should I continue this fight or not? She had once been a strong woman, but now, her confidence was slowly fading. I can't let Alexander win, she told herself. I have to find the truth. She turned to look at Alexander. I will not let these memories control my life, she thought to herself. I will fight for my rights, she declared with all her strength. I will not let anyone decide for me anymore. Victoria felt as if she had found strength within herself. She was not just fighting for herself, but for all the women who had gone through similar situations. I will not let anyone. I will not let you take away what I have built. When the trial ended, Victoria felt as if she had passed an important milestone in her life. She reminded herself, and within her, a new flame had ignited. Victoria stood by the window, the morning sunlight illuminating the room, creating a warm and hopeful atmosphere. She had learned to love herself and stand firm in the face of all challenges. She turned back to look in the mirror, seeing the image of a strong, confident, and resilient woman. I cannot let the past control my future, she thought. Her final decision was not only to accept the outcome of the trial but also to forgive Alexander, not for him, but for herself. But to express her feelings. Thank you for teaching me valuable lessons about love and self-respect, she wrote. Even though everything has ended, I will not let this pain define me. As she wrote, Victoria felt more relieved than ever. She decided to spend time on herself, engaging in activities she loved, such as painting and writing. She had found a passion for creativity. Victoria hesitated a bit, but then decided to open up. "This is a painting about freedom," she said, pointing to the painting with bright colors. "It symbolizes my journey." She felt like she was living in a fairy tale, where anything could happen. David not only respected her but also encouraged her to pursue her passion for art. "You have talent, show the world that," he said, his eyes full of encouragement. Victoria felt as if she were rediscovering herself. She was no longer a victim of the past but a strong, confident woman full of a desire to live. "I have learned that love comes not only from others but also from within myself," she reflected. One evening, while they were watching the sunset together, Victoria felt a sense of peace spreading in her heart. "I used to think I couldn't love again," she shared with David. "But now, I realize that love always exists, as long as we open our hearts." David held her hand, his eyes full of affection. "Love is a journey, and I'm very happy to accompany you." Victoria felt the warmth from his hand. And she knew she had found someone who not only loved her but also respected her. "I have truly matured," she thought. "I have learned how to love and forgive." As Victoria looks towards the horizon, she sees a promising future. Although life will hold many challenges, she is ready to face them. "I will never forget the lessons from the past, but I will not let them hold me back," she tells herself. She knows that her journey is still ongoing, but now, she is no longer alone. "Love and forgiveness will guide me," she thinks, and within her, a new belief has been ignited. Victoria had found strength within herself, and she understood that life is not only about what has happened, but also about how we face it. Every day is an opportunity to start over. She thought to herself, "I will live fully, love wholeheartedly, and never give up hope." With those thoughts, Victoria walked on a new path, where love, forgiveness, and dreams awaited her. She was ready for the wonderful things ahead, and in her heart, her faith in life had been restored. Victoria sat by the window, the gentle light of the evening filtering through the leaves outside, creating shimmering shadows on the floor. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and felt the fresh air fill her lungs. Each time she did this, she felt as though she was being reborn. Like a new leaf just sprouting from a branch. "I have decided," she thought to herself, her heart filled with relief. Deciding to forgive Alexander was not only an act to free herself from burdens but also a turning point in her perspective on life. She had once thought that the pain was something insurmountable. But now she realized that those very wounds had helped her grow. The feeling of peace enveloped her, like a warm blanket on cold winter days. "I am no longer a victim of the past," Victoria told herself. She had learned to love herself, understanding that her worth does not depend on the acceptance of others. "I deserve happiness," she thought. And a gentle smile blossomed on her lips. Looking outside, she saw children playing in the nearby park. Their pure laughter rang out, warming her heart. Family. "I once dreamed of a happy family," she pondered. In the past, the image of a home filled with laughter and love had been her motivation. But now, she realized that family is not just about blood relations, but also about those whom you choose to love and share life with. Victoria stood up, walked out onto the balcony, where the gentle wind blew, carrying the scent of flowers and grass. She felt the life overflowing around her. Each day is a gift, she thought, and that made her feel grateful. She no longer lived just for today, but also for tomorrow. For the dreams she always wanted to fulfill. "I will not let fear hold me back anymore," she reminded herself. She had once worried about starting over, but now her heart was full of hope. "I will write, I will draw, I will live to the fullest." The artistic activities she once loved had now become an inseparable part of her life. Victoria decided to join a painting class at the local art center. "This is the opportunity to explore myself," she thought. As she entered the classroom, she felt excitement and anticipation. The people around her were all art lovers, and that made her feel like she had found a place where she belonged. Throughout the lesson, she focused on each stroke, feeling the freedom in every movement of the brush. Each painting she created carried a part of her soul, and she realized that creating was not just a hobby but also a way to heal. I can turn pain into art, she thought, and in her heart, a new flame had been lit. When the class was over, Victoria stepped outside with an uplifting mood. The sky had turned to a vibrant orange hue of sunset, and she felt as if life was smiling at her. I will not only live, but I will live fully, she resolved. She knew that the road ahead still held many challenges, but now she was ready to face them. I will not let anyone, not even myself, stop me from pursuing happiness, she told herself. With each step, she felt the confidence and strength gradually returning. Victoria found the light in the darkest of days. She learned that life is not always fair. But it is those experiences that have enriched her soul. I will live with love and forgiveness, she thought, and in her heart, a firm belief took shape. With eyes full of hope, Victoria looked toward the horizon, where dreams and opportunities awaited. She was ready for a new chapter in her life, and in that moment, she knew she had truly grown.